Hi, if you're new here, I'm Kim, and this is Brown Sense. Hey, I'm here at the design table, and I'm going to be drawing out my August 2021 closeout. So let's get started. My approach this month for closing out is taking more of a journaling approach. I'm going to review my cash savings, look at the budget realities and tracking for this month, do an envelope review, and make note of any lessons I learned about myself or changes to my mindset that I'd like to make. Starting with cash tracking, I have Digit in place and attached to my main account, not to my bills account, but to the account I just spend money out of. And I treat this savings as a bill from my future self for comfort and support to my present self. If you don't know anything about Digit, this is not a sponsored video, although hopefully in the future I will be able to work with Digit. I love the application. This is my second time using it, but with more discipline and less impulsive spending, I'm actually seeing a great benefit from using Digit. What Digit does is you attach it to your account and it monitors your spending patterns, and it allocates, using an algorithm, the best time to pull small amounts of savings out of your account that you won't miss and will not interrupt your cash flow. And they guarantee that if there is a problem, you can reach out to them and they'll help make that situation right. I haven't noticed Digit, and to see that I've saved $121, I'm impressed that money is there and that I really am enjoying this micro saving. It does work. It wasn't burdensome to have money removed from the account, and I really appreciated that about my experience with Digit this month. So I'm excited to leave that running and see how much I can save going forward. Also, I'm following the savings challenge. So if you saw Sinking Fun opening video, this challenge that was posted by the Broke Black Girl, and it is a goal to save $500 in 16 weeks, and I started off funding the challenge with $100. Also following this outline that was posted by the Broke Black Girl, so you see this correction here, I've started with saving $30. Gives me a total of cash savings of $251.78. I'm really excited about that. It's a small amount, but to be able to save anything, to see that it's possible, is great. This does not include any investment savings that I have. This is literally just cash savings. While I monitor my investment savings, I've chosen to treat those as a separate entity because those for wealth, for a home, for a few things, or set up and will, grow. And I'd like to make sure I retain that growing power there while I clean up the rest of my financial life. Moving on from saving tracking to some budget tracking. So I had allocated money towards fun, which included a present for one of my good friends. And I actually went over that budget by about $15. So I'm just making a note that I love my friends and I need to budget like it. In trying to be frugal, I picked a value that was, to me, maybe in reference, a good amount. But I do find a lot of joy in being able to give to my friends or making a celebration really fun. So I need to think about that when I budget, because there's some happiness in giving, and to take away money from another area and to apply it there, especially for someone you have a very solid friendship with, is, for me, something I really find joy in. So I want to make sure that my budget reflects it. So instead of feeling bad about going over, I just need to realize that I'm playing a little bit small, and I'll cover that when I go over the lessons I've learned this month. And I need to budget like I love my friends. Then I'm making note I had an unexpected expense, which was part impulse and part need. I ordered blue light glasses. The impulse was that I ordered 2 pairs rather than 1. But in this new venture of really editing videos and spending a lot of time staring at my screen, I'm noticing that the blue light makes my head hurt. Also, I likely had this issue during my corporate days, and because I wore my own glasses, thought that was helping, but likely contributed to headaches as well. I am making adjustments, which you guys should have seen. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. My September setup video. And I made note that I wanted to add money into my miscellaneous envelope for exactly that purpose. The last thing in budget tracking before we bring in how I did with my cash envelopes is I've noticed a lot of people will go back and write down all of their expenses that have happened over a certain period, be it weekly, bi-weekly, and categorize them. I think that is great, but I do know that for me personally, it really destroys my motivation bridge when it comes to getting things done with ADHD. What I was able to do was this. To keep my motivation bridge intact, I did an I Spy view of going through my expenses. I went through all of my accounts, any credit cards, and reviewed anything that would have been paid in the last 2-week period. I took note of what was a debt item and what was amount that was like living, food, rent, property taxes, gas, anything like that. I really only included the amounts I paid out to debt and unnecessary expenses. Then I added that amount up and I've just listed it as income lost to debt and expense. This is a better representation for me of the money that I'm not able to save or invest, and is less of a punishment than writing each individual expense. When I see the expense again, I remember and I can tell if it was an impulse expense. I make notes within the pages of my budget of what I felt and what went on and what was happening, and then apply those lessons into what I should do differently when a situation like this comes up. The goal of this action is to create a skeleton for myself, especially with ADHD, to know what to do, how to do it, how did I handle it, what would be a better way of handling it during an emergency. Now moving on to my cash envelope review. I just made some notes of how it felt to use the cash envelopes. It resulted in very controlled spending. Even with the blue light glasses purchase, I was able to really direct funds to the groups that they went to. I knew I didn't have that much money allocated to myself, so I didn't worry about buying too much for me. Maybe I found ways to do it through other envelopes. Grocery money, I made sure that I have less than takeout. I'm really going to go get foods that I like and make sure that I have food in the house to eat, and reduce how much I'm going out or my urge to use Uber Eats, which is deleted off of my phone, so we're doing well, but reduce my urge to use Uber Eats and different things like that. But I do find that I am still struggling to manage impulses because it's weird having money that's available for use. The settling part is in that allocating the money for specific use. It allows me to see where I'm overspending in areas. Have I spent too much on food that's not being eaten and ends up still being thrown out, and therefore I still end up eating out? Thankfully that hasn't happened, but that is a past behavior for me, so it's something I know to look for. Also, I spent some money before getting everything organized on, again, as I said, a present from my friend, bringing something to her celebration, which I can now post because it was a surprise. So delayed this video a little bit so that Morgan's surprise party could go off without being called out. I spent a little bit more than I planned, which is good. It's really my under budgeting and not a reflection of anything else. The money that I set aside in her cash envelope in theory was double spent because I spent the money on my card. So I took that money and transferred it to a debt payment in my sinking fund. When we go over sinking funds in September, I'll be sure to call out that money, show you guys before it gets dropped into an account for a payment. And then lastly, just noticing with the cash envelopes that I under budget. And because of my under budgeting, that has resulted in me amassing an amount of debt that's unnecessary, trying to live outside of my means. So now my goal is really to live within my means, but to adjust my budget based on what's going on at this time. Do I know what's coming up? Can I allocate money here? And making better use of the funds that I do have. Also, I noticed that the under budgeting was a sign of mindset shift that I'm undergoing from playing small and coming from a mindset of scarcity and moving into one of abundance, where in my relationship it was a mindset of scarcity, and there was scarcity in a lot of things that were necessary, my work life and my personal life. So that comes out in so many different things, and I'm seeing it in how I handle money. And in reading a few books like Feel the Fear, Do It Anyway, Think and Grow Rich, really growing, I'm finding that doing the budgeting is doing a great job of making me be very organized and on top of what I'm doing, which creates a very settled feeling. But also, it does a good job in showing me in places that I need to shift completely, what things stand in my way, so I can start to step on top of them and step over it. Let's move on to some of the lessons that I've learned this month. So budgeting and planning is definitely helping to fix my life. It's creating order, and that order is slowly starting to spread into the rest of my life. And while there's always more to go, I'm really excited that I've come this far. Again, just noting on the playing small, even when it comes to money, that's something I want to work on. I feel like this is a good avenue, especially as I'm in a rebuilding phase of my life, and it offers an area of sanity that helps me then to apply sanity everywhere else in my life. Micro saving is definitely a win. It works the same way you eat an elephant, which is one bite at a time. No, I'm not advocating eating an elephant. It's just a quote I learned one time. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. That's how you get through it. And then lastly, one of the best feelings that I'm learning from doing all this is feeling less shame. I feel more prepared. I feel like I'm on top of adulting in some way. I feel like I'm trying to add function back into my life. I'm okay saying no to events and things and people that don't encourage or help to encourage the feelings in the environment I'm trying to create for myself at this time. I'm really enjoying creating a skeleton and doing things in a way where I'm kind to myself instead of beating myself up for spending $15 or writing out every one of my expenses like it's punishment. I'm able to look at it and see how I felt and make changes that ultimately will help me feel better in the end. So I'm very excited about this journey. I'm excited about sharing it with you guys and the accountability. So we're a few videos in, and I thought this was the perfect time. So I often introduce you guys to the design table. The design table is essentially an area allocated in my workspace, my home workspace, for me to carry out my design homework. A large enough space to accommodate the size papers and different projects that I have. But also I do a lot of my budgeting and journaling here, and it's a place where I get to reflect and really design my life. Definitely wanted to write some things that stood out, some words. So like less shame, as I mentioned. It's really nice knowing that I have some savings allocated across multiple things. Action, of course, taking action, feeling the fear and doing it anyway. So these financial goals that I have are really being carried out. Wealth consciousness, which involves a level of organization. You really have to be very clear and have your records clear. So thanks guys for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button below. Don't forget to subscribe, check out other videos, and I will catch you guys soon. Bye.